सुप्रभात। आज का प्रदर्शन कक्षा 9वीं ब के ग्रुप 7 के छात्रों के द्वारा किया जा रहा है। हमारे ग्रुप का विषय है प्राणवायु चक्र और ओजोन परत। हमारे ग्रुप के सदस्य हैं देवेश, प्रज्वल, शिवानी, सौम्या, ध्रुव और सोहन। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं।
Introduction to the oxygen cycle. The oxygen cycle. Oxygen is an abundant element in the atmosphere, forming about 21% of the atmospheric gases. It is an essential component of most biological molecules like carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, etc. Oxygen maintains the level of oxygen in the atmosphere. Oxygen from the atmosphere is used up in the processes of combustion, respiration, and formation of oxides of nitrogen. Now we shall look at how the oxygen circulates in the nature. Functioning of the oxygen cycle. Animals breathe in oxygen from the atmosphere. Animals breathe out carbon dioxide and water vapors. Plants use this to perform photosynthesis and produce oxygen and glucose. The glucose is then stored in plant and is then eaten by an herbivore animal. The glucose is consumed by the animals and the animals respirate. And this is the cycle of oxygen.
What is the oxygen cycle? Oxygen is constantly used and created by different processes on planet Earth. All these processes together make up the oxygen cycle. The oxygen cycle, thus a biogeochemical cycle that describes the movement of oxygen within Earth's three main reservoirs: the land lithosphere, the water hydrosphere, and air atmosphere, which makes up Earth's biosphere. Oxygen is produced by plants. Plants produce oxygen via photosynthesis and sunlight. Some oxygen is produced when sunlight reacts with water vapors in the atmosphere.
Ozone layer. What is ozone layer? Ozone layer is a layer in the lower portion of the Earth's atmosphere, which is stratosphere, with high concentration of ozone gas. The stratosphere gets its name because it is stratified or say layered. As elevation increases, the stratosphere gets warmer. The stratosphere increases in warmth with the elevation because ozone gas in the upper layer have potential to absorb around 97 to 99% of intense ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Ozone is only a trace gas in the atmosphere, only about 3 molecules for every 10 million molecules of air, but it does a very important job. Like a sponge, the ozone layer absorbs bits of radiation hitting Earth from the sun. Even though we need some of the sun's radiation to live, too much of it can damage living things. If the ozone layer was absent, millions of people would develop skin diseases and may have weakened immune systems. So basically, the ozone layer acts as a shield for life on Earth. And simply, the ozone layer is a region in the Earth's stratosphere that contains high concentration of ozone and protects the Earth from the harmful ultraviolet radiations of the sun.
Formation of ozone layer. We know that most of the ozone, that is 90%, is found in troposphere and the remaining 10% of the ozone resides in the troposphere. So the formation and destruction process of ozone in those two distant layers are very different, as well as it impacts on life on Earth. So how was the ozone layer formed? The reaction of UV radiations with O2 or dioxygen molecules result in a formation of O3. The UV radiations splits the oxygen molecule into the free oxygen or O atoms. These O atoms combine with molecular form of oxygen to form ozone, that is O3. It is thermodynamically an unstable compound and has a tendency to decompose into molecular oxygen. So basically, it is telling about the tropospheric ozone formation, that it is formed when solar energetic ultraviolet radiations, that is UV, dissociates molecules of oxygen O2 into separate oxygen atoms. Free oxygen atoms can recombine to form oxygen molecules, but if a free oxygen atom collides with an oxygen molecule, then it joins up, forming ozone. ozone molecules can also be decomposed by the UV radiations coming from the sun into a free atom and an oxygen molecule. So, ozone is thus continuously created and also destroyed in the troposphere by UV radiations coming from the sun. Stratospheric ozone is also known as the good zone as it is beneficial for life on Earth because it absorbs the harmful UV radiations from the sun. In the absence of ozone layer, the higher UV radiations coming from the sun would impact many living organisms on Earth and which can cause sunburn, skin cancer, eye disease like cataract and etc. Now if we talk about tropospheric ozone formation, so it was formed when nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide and volatile organic compounds reacted in the atmosphere in the presence of UV radiations. Also, tropospheric ozone in excess of the nature amounts of ozone is also considered as the bad zone.
Importance of ozone layer. The ozone layer or ozone shield is a region of Earth's stratosphere that absorbs most of the sun ultraviolet radiation. It contains high concentrations of ozone in relation to other parts of the atmosphere. The sun propagates the ultraviolet radiation, which is an adverse effect on living beings. This layer absorbs the radiation and prohibits them from entering the outer surface of the Earth. The ozone layer resides in the stratospheric layer of the Earth's atmosphere. The layers which occupy the lower part of atmosphere, they remove the unwanted pollutants from the Earth's surface. Therefore, the ozone layer protects life on Earth from harmful effects of solar radiation on our daily basis.
Everything was safe and fine for billions of years until in the 1970s. Scientists discovered that the chlorofluorocarbons, that is CFC, and nitrogen oxide coming out from a wide range of industries and consumer applicants, mainly refrigerator, air conditioner, fire extinguisher, flowed towards the ozone layer and caused ozone hole. As you can see in the map that in 1917, how was the annual range has increased, that was all because of the ozone hole. But this didn't last long, as with the increasing awareness about CFC and other chemicals, the production and consumption of such substances has decreased to a significant level, and as a result the ozone layer was slowly getting healed and got to normal.
धन्यवादः सर्वेणि। ये सर्वे आकस्मिन् प्रस्तुतीकरणं ध्यानेन श्रुत्वाः। धन्यवादः पुनः।